Hey friends, what's up? How are you? I have got a great book for you today. I'm so excited to be back with this author. I have read a few of his books before. They were all part of the same series. It's been a couple years since I've read him, but I jumped at the chance when I saw that he was taking part in the series that this is about. Did that make sense? Anyway, the book we're going to talk about today is Misadventures of a Biker by Scott Hildreth. You may have noticed that I have done two other videos on the Misadventures series. I will include those in the description box below. What a great series this is. There's now, I think this is the 30th book in the series. It's been going on for quite a while. Lots of authors have taken part in this series, and they are such great books. They are super steamy. They have great characters. They are quick reads, a nice condensed story, but yet leaves you totally satisfied. It's been one of my favorite series to read, and I always say this, I can't wait to go back and read the rest of them. I read Scott's Filthy Rhymes with Duckers series, and it's interesting how I came across that. And I hate to sound so cliche, but you know, it's interesting to see a man's perspective, a male author's perspective on romance, to see if there's really, if I can feel, at least for me, if I can feel a little bit of a difference in the writing. Scott's Filthy series is about a motorcycle club, so automatically it's a little bit of a kind of, I don't want to say rougher experience reading it, but these are strong, dominant men, so automatically those books are a little bit, I guess rougher is the only word I can come up with. I think I need a thesaurus to be sitting by me when I do these videos. So I was interested in that this book, that it was still keeping with the same biker theme. I know a little bit about Scott in just reading a bit, you know, about in his bio, and I know that he was a biker himself, so he obviously speaks from experience, so he brings something to the table as far as writing these kind of stories. Misadventures of a Biker is about Devin and Teddy. Devin is at a point in his life, even though he's literally been in prison for the last many years, that he kind of knows who he is. And he doesn't go out looking for a girlfriend. He goes out looking for a job. And that's where he meets Teddy. Teddy is the broker to a real estate office that he applies at. And I thought it was interesting how he brought up being a convicted felon. You know, it's on a job application. So to apply for any job, you have to write if you're a convicted felon. Another character in the book is Kate, and she works at the office. She is the one that Devin talks to, and he struggles for a minute because he's like, he's applied for many jobs and no one will give him a chance. So he goes into, like, he's applying to be a receptionist in the real estate office, and you know, he's full of tattoos. I mean, they talk about how handsome he is, but I thought it was interesting how he gauged whether to tell Kate or not. He asked her a few questions, and he asked her if she was married, if she had a significant other, and he goes along in the questions that he asks. And at the end, he basically phrases it, how open-minded are you? And he's talking about oysters. And I can't eat oysters. No. It's very polarizing, don't you think? Either people like them or they don't. So I thought it was interesting the way Devin asked these questions of her. And in the end, he ended up telling her, and honesty is a big thing for him. And he was able to establish a connection, and they were able to form a friendship that I really liked throughout this book. And I thought she was a great character. Teddy is roughly the same age. She is a kick-ass real estate agent. She presents herself in a certain way. She's very successful, and they don't get on at all when they first meet. And it's funny because he obviously sees her and he's like, wow, you know, she's attractive. She's kind of rude, that she looks down on him, kind of uppity. Teddy is like, who is the hot new guy working here? Who hired him? Why is he here? Because as we know about Teddy, she's been burned a little bit in the past. She works in a cutthroat industry. Here's this guy showing up in her office, working in her office, that she takes one look at and is like drooling over, and she doesn't like that. I loved that this book took place around Naples, Florida. I actually was just in that area last fall with friends. I had never been on the Gulf side of Florida, so it was really enjoyable for me to be down there. It is such a beautiful area, and it's so funny because these places that Scott talks about in this book, I've been there, and I was just there. It was 6 months ago. I love that when I have that kind of a connection and that to the story, and I can visualize all the things that the author is talking about. I've talked about how I love when books take place in Chicago. That's where I'm from. That's where I live. It brings another layer to the story for me. It was like that in this book. Teddy talks about going to Cavo, which is a bar slash club slash restaurant. I actually went there with my friends. Because it is a misadventures story, we know that we're gonna get a lot of sexy, a lot of steamy, and we did, most certainly. Devin talks about how he feels like he is a sexual misfit, that he requires certain things, and you know, I gotta keep it, you know, mostly PG. He requires certain things in his sex life that seem a little, I don't want to say deviant because that's not really the word either, but he likes a little extra. Vanilla is not for him. He talks about how, you know, he can't really get going unless there's a little bit extra of a kind of like a, anyway, you'll know what I'm talking about when you read it. Teddy also talks about how she also likes that, and I thought that whole kind of opposite sides of the same coin was really interesting, and I hoped that's where Scott was going, and that is where he's going with the book. And it's funny because she's so put together and just, you know, like I said, this kind of kick-ass chick in her everyday life and in her job, and yet she sees an alpha man, i.e. Devin, and she almost becomes like subservient to them, and that's what gets her going. I was like, girl, I get it. Kate is the one that points it out to her, and Kate kind of plays a little bit of a matchmaker in the book, which I really liked. And she actually shows her, looks up the word subservient and shows her, or reads her the definition. She's like, this is you. It kind of helped me explore Teddy a little bit more and identify with her a little bit more. The way they played off each other and the steam and the chemistry that they had, I loved. There were two things that kind of stuck out to me a little bit in that. God, I don't know if we can even talk about it. Am I blushing yet? Teddy says that she looks at Devin in a certain area on his body, and he is clothed. How can I dance around this? And she says it looks like, and I'm totally paraphrasing, but trying to get the point across, it looks like he's packing a can of Pringles. Oh my God. I was like, girl, whew, okay. And then there was this two different discussions, and I thought, okay, this is where Scott is showing us that he's a guy writing their story. He has the discussion, Devin has a discussion with Herb, which is a friend of his that he lives with, who is an older gentleman and literally loved him. He felt very familiar to me from the other series that I mentioned of Scott's that I loved. Herb would have fit in over there perfectly as well. So Devin has a discussion with Herb, and then Herb has a discussion with Devin and Teddy. It's the same topic. And oh my gosh, it was about, oh, I don't even think I can say it. When you read the book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm being such a tease. I don't think I can talk about it. Yeah, I don't think I can talk about it because I think that would take me in the R section. Sorry, my husband is working in the garage right behind us. This wall is the garage, and he's got music playing, and he's moving this organizing system we have around. So if you hear stuff in the background, sorry. Anyway, okay, I know I was being such a tease, but whatever. Another totally comedic relief person in this book was Vinnie, which is Herb's friend, which Devin gets to know, and Teddy meets. He was just hysterical, and I loved the way Scott wrote his dialogue. Vinnie is from New Jersey, I think, and he's Italian. So right there, that paints the picture. He was just hysterical. I loved those two characters. Devin was just so incredibly likable, and just, yeah, I had an immediate crush on him. He's definitely a good alpha male, sexy, hot, all of that business. And he's also swoony, and he said something that I would like to share with you that made me just totally crush on him. I found it interesting that I perceived her differently now that we were officially dating. When we first met, I saw her as an attractive woman who had an abrasive and often rude personality. Now I saw her as an attractive woman who was merely trying to protect herself from being harmed emotionally. The two were worlds apart. And this is exactly, he pegs Teddy like just, he's right on with her. And I loved that he could see that in her. And then Teddy said something that was very sweet, and I was right there with her as she was saying it. They're at a point where they've been dating for a while, and they're both kind of falling for each other, and they're also working together, and they're seeing the worth and what each other brings to the table and how they balance each other out in that part. They're just completely coming together. This is Teddy talking. We toured the house from top to bottom. It looked remarkable from every angle. At the top of the steps, I paused. Can I have a kiss? Sure. He kissed me twice and then pulled away. I'm guessing you're happy? I laughed to myself. If you only knew. He gave me a funny look. What does that mean? I've never been happier than I am right now, I admitted. Never. In seeing this house? This house is insignificant, I replied. I'm talking about since you and I started this. You make me happy. What about me? It isn't one thing. I like the way you look, the way you act, the way you carry yourself. It's pretty much everything. Yeah, I'll go with that. I like everything about you. That's nice to hear, he said, seemingly a little embarrassed. You want to hear something that's going to sound ridiculous? Sure. I feel the same way, he said, about you. Ah, see? It's romantic. I did have an oh crap moment at the end of this book. I really didn't want Devin to let me down. And I really felt for Teddy at that point. Oh no, he better not do that to her. And thank goodness he didn't. We get a wonderful happy ending at the end of this book. Let me know if you have read Scott Hildreth's other books or any of the other misadventure books. which ones you liked, which ones you think I should read. You know I always love hearing your recommendations. I would love to have you jump over on my social media, which is Kat Reads Romance on Facebook and Instagram. I'd also like to invite you to join my Facebook group, which is Kat's Romance Readers. And before you leave, hit the subscribe button below. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It not only helps me, but it will also help this video's visibility on YouTube. Thank you as always for hanging out with me today. I hope you are well and staying safe wherever you are in the world. I'll see you soon. Bye.